Hello, my name is Jim Wendler. I'm the author and creator of 531, and today we're going to talk about the weight vest. More specifically, we're going to answer some of the questions that I get about the weight vest. I've been using a weight vest in my training for about 13 years. Now I've used one exclusively, which means I haven't done any barbell work for the last two and a half years. I'm not an expert, but I do have some experience. All right, so here we go. The first question, and I get asked this a million times a day, it seems like, what kind of weight vest do I recommend? I use two of them. I use a 511 plate carrier, which is about 20 pounds. And I also use an X vest, which is variable, which means I can vary the weight from 1 pound to 84 pounds. Now, there's a lot of vests out there, and especially with the pandemic or whatever people want to call it, a lot of people have turned to home gym or, body weight style training because the gyms were closed. So I'm sure that there's been a lot of great vests that have come out of that, and I'm sure people have tested. So if you have one that you like, be my guest and just let it go. I've used quite a few weight vests in my day, and there is no doubt that both those, the 511 X vest, have stood the test of time. Understand that I'm not just walking with the vest. I'm doing boatloads of training, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day I'm putting that thing on, and then both of those have done a great job. Highly recommended. I am not endorsed by X vest or 511, so you can trust my opinion on that. All right, the second question I get is, what weight should I put in the weight vest? Now, there's a lot of variance here, but generally speaking, about 10% of your body weight. I use about 20 pounds. I'll go up to 45 during training, and if I'm testing, it might be a little bit heavier. But generally speaking, about 10% of your body weight. Now, of course, if you're stronger or weaker or don't have much experience with the weight vest, I always recommend using the same 531 principles I talk about all the time, meaning start light and progress slow. So again, this depends wildly on your strength level, your overall fitness or whatever you want to call it, your current state of readiness, your preparedness, all that stuff. But generally speaking, about 10% of your body weight. All right, the next question I get quite a bit is, why did I change? Why did I change from using a barbell to just using the weight vest exclusively? Well, the number one reason was injuries. I could still use a barbell, but because of various injuries in my body, I just couldn't train very hard. I could phone in all of my workouts. I could probably still use a barbell today, but frankly, it was boring. It was boring doing light weights and not really pushing for PR sets. And training was boring. I was just not having fun. I wasn't growing physically. I wasn't growing mentally. One day, I remember I was kind of going back and forth, just like I'm sure some of you have done in your life on various issues. And I remember I woke up, it was May 1st, and I remember thinking, screw it, F it all, I'm gonna go weight vest. I said, I'll give myself 30 days. If I don't like it, I'll just go back to doing what I was doing and I'll figure it out. After those 30 days, man, I was hooked. I loved training. I woke up, even if I was super sore and beat the fuck up, sorry about that. Even if I was beat up, I still couldn't wait to get in the weight room. And the big reason why I was able to train incredibly hard, and I miss that part of training. Doesn't mean that you should always train balls to the wall or something. Obviously, I'm not a huge believer in that, but you still want to be able to train hard. And I always feel like it needs to feed into that crazy part of your brain. So that's the main reason. And the other thing is, what was cool to come out of that, and it's not because I did the weight vest that has some magical properties. I became much more disciplined. I was training 1 to 2 or 3 times a day. I was forced to manage my schedule. And there was a lot of days I would go in there, especially at the second or third workout of the day, and I was just sore and I didn't want to do it, but I pushed through it. And it was amazing was the first couple weeks, those second and third workouts were miserable. After a couple months, it was easy. And I just ignored the soreness. I ignored my hands getting ripped up. And it was fun. It was like a daily challenge to see what I could tolerate. And because of that, I really think I obviously got more disciplined, but I became a better person. Again, this is not some magical properties of just the weight vest, but when I pushed myself physically, I became just a better husband. I was much more patient with my kid too. I was able to, especially I got a fairly young kid. He's 10, 11 years old. When I started, he was 9 with the weight vest. And I was just more patient. I was just a better person. And I think I became a better coach because I got to see something other than the barbell. And I think that's super important if you want to be a coach or train people, is to experience different styles of training. So overall, a huge experience for me, and it was nothing but positive. The next question that I get is, what do I do in my weight vest workouts? Many years ago, I coined this term. It's called Walrus Training. And I did this mostly as a joke, and it kind of stuck. I call it Walrus Training because it's the fat, lazy, gross cousin of the Navy SEAL. Now, just before anyone says anything, it has nothing to do with being special forces, or do I think any of this stuff will make you into that. But I figured if I could do certain challenges with the weight vest, I'd be like the greatest Suburban Commando in the world. I could mow any lawn and paint any house or do any general activity in the neighborhood and still be in great shape and kick ass. So Walrus Training started, and retroactively, while waiting in line to get into a Ghost concert in Columbus, my friend Joey Waters and I were laughing about it, and we came up with an acronym. So Walrus stands for washed up. I got it written down here. Washed up, lethargic, retired, used sportsman. So that was done retroactively. But anyway, so what do I do? Now, there's a ton of variations that you can have when you do this style of training, but basically it involves one lower body movement, one upper body push, and one upper body pull. And those are done in a circuit while wearing a weight vest. It's very simple. The easiest thing that most everyone here knows would be something like the famous Murph Challenge. So, for example, the majority of my training consists of squats, push-ups, and chin-ups. Now, again, there's a lot of variations within here. You can do 3 exercises, 4, you can just do 2, whatever you want to do. Now, there's a lot of articles I've written on this. We have a whole section on the Jim Wendler forum that is dedicated to this style of training. And not only do you get my input, but there's a ton of people on there that have used this training to make themselves better or just needed to change, just like I did and just like you might. All right. The most important thing to remember is to always start with a much lower volume than you think you can handle, and just being conservative, because if you're not ready for this style of training, just like everything in the training world, it will kick your ass all over the place. I think I started, when I very first started doing this, even before I 100% committed, I think I started with like 100 squats, 50 push-ups, and 25 chin-ups. It got to the point where I was regularly doing 300, 200, and 100 every single day for I think 7 months, and a lot of those days I went up to like 500 squats instead of the 300. So it took some time to build up. So don't expect daily, getting better daily. Just plow away at what you know you can handle. Keep doing it. Be consistent. Be disciplined, and you'll probably feel a lot better. The key is, of course, start light, progress slow. Make sure you wear an appropriate weighted weight vest too. All right, the next 2 questions that I get, I totally understand both these, especially the first one here. Can you maintain muscle mass and your strength when just using the weight vest in your training? The answer is no. But of course it depends on a lot of factors. But if you're a professional bodybuilder, you're not going to walk on stage only using the weight vest as your training. All right, and you're not going to bench press 500 pounds by only using the weight vest. And of course, if you're starting from nothing, of course you're going to build muscle and build strength. But again, I wouldn't use this if your primary goal was to deadlift 800 pounds or bench 500 pounds. It's just not a smart way of doing it. The next question is, can you use the weight vest as part of barbell training? Meaning, can you combine using a barbell and a weight vest? And the answer is, of course you can. It's very, very simple. What I always recommend people do is choose one main barbell lift a day. It doesn't matter what it is. So let's say you choose to bench press. Do what's appropriate for you during that cycle on the bench press. and whatever program you're doing, and then follow that up using the weight vest as a circuit for your assistance work. Even if you're bench pressing that day, you would still do your body weights, your weight vest squats, your chin-ups, and your push-ups. If you're squatting that day as your main lift, you would, of course, you can go ahead and put on the weight vest and do some more squats and do push-ups. You can do push-ups on the days you squat. You're not going to die. You're not going to get dick cancer. You're going to be fine. And it's a really fun and easy way to get all your assistance done fairly quickly, get a little extra conditioning. And truth be told, you're going to feel like a brick shithouse. You're going to feel terrific. All right, let's conclude this video on the weight vest. You guys can go ahead and get on with your lives. To sum it up, I feel great. I feel much better than I have in years. And to be honest, I'm much better what I call everyday conditioned. I can do anything outside the gym and do it with great effort. So I really couldn't do that before. My back and my shoulders were always killing me, my hips, knees, all that stuff. So now I'm much more excited about training. I'm consistently challenged. I wasn't challenged before. I already squatted 1,000, bench 675. I kind of figured I did everything I wanted to do. And I'm always getting my ass kicked. Every single day I go in there, I get humbled, and it's amazing. I don't miss the barbell. I think I get asked that a little bit too if I miss doing it, and I really don't. I've always done a pretty good job. This is one of the few things I'm good at, is moving forward in my life. Once I'm done with a certain thing or certain part of my life, I have no problems just going and leaving it behind. So at that time, it was time for me to move forward. And I never want to be stuck in the past. So now remember, guys, this style of training is not for everyone, but it was right for me. And it might be right for you. So if you're kind of on the fence, just give yourself 30 days. Put on a vest that's appropriate for you. Set a goal for every single day and see if you can fight through it. It's one of the best things I've ever done. Now, I should probably say this too. Listen, the weight vest, for getting stronger and bigger, the barbell still reigns supreme. It has served me incredibly well, helped get me a college scholarship, allowed me to play football at a level that I should have never been at. I got to accomplish all kinds of goals that I've always wanted to do when I was a kid. So the barbell has served me well, but it was killing me. So I had to make a change. So are we all clear on that? So no one starts thinking I'm preaching this over the barbell and going nuts. Drives me nuts. Now listen, if you got any questions or comments, please do so below in the video. I'd be more than willing to answer any questions or use it as a time to get another video up and talk to you guys directly. So this is Jim Wendler, author and creator of 531, letting you guys know that there's only 3 things you need in life, and that's Sabbath, Slayer, and steak.